For more detailed videos, subscribe to Cisco Coppage LLC.com. This tutorial is designed to give you an overview of the unit supply menu inside of GCSS Army. Before we get into the lesson, there are some key points that need to be discussed. The first key point is that the menu gives supply personnel easy access to the transaction codes needed to perform essential tasks. The second key point is that GCSS Army is driven by transaction codes. This is different from PBIS. The transaction code ZUS menu is used to access the unit supply menu inside of the system. This is the unit supply menu. There are 8 different categories on the menu that give you access to the commonly used transaction codes. In the upper left-hand corner, we see SBWP menu. SBWP, that is the transaction code for your email inside of GCSS Army. Now we're going to select property management. As you can see, there are a lot of different transaction codes located under property management. We have the primary hand receipt as well as sub hand receipt, and the transaction code display mat sit will give you access to the property book as well as sub hand receipts or storage locations inside of GCSS Army. Right under display mat sit, we see MyGo 311. That is how you can reassign equipment or move equipment to another sub hand receipt or location inside of GCSS Army. Mat assign is not used that much inside of the system, but if you had a sub hand receipt holder that wanted to sub equipment to someone in their section or platoon, mat assign is how you can assign sub hand receipts. But most personnel are just still using a regular DA 2062 to sub equipment. ZPBO workbench, property disposition, that is where you start the transaction code to move equipment from your property book, aka lateral transfers, turn-ins, property loss, etc. That is where you as a supply sergeant will go to put items in suspense to fall off of the books, and your PBO uses that transaction code to give it document numbers. That's also where you receive lateral transfers inside of the system as well. ZPBO Struct, that transaction code talks about your property book structure and your different supporting elements. So it lets you know if you're an MTO structured unit, if you're a TDA structured unit. It also gives you access to rename and create sub-hand receipts in the system as needed. The transaction code ZMATComp compares what you're authorized against what you have on hand. So if you have your property book, it will compare your property book against what you're authorized, your MTO, what you're authorized to have as far as equipment is concerned. Request property, ME51N or ME51 November, that is how you request a non-expendable item inside of GCSS Army. So we move on along towards inventory management. We select it. And on the inventory management, we see a few transaction codes here as well. As a unit supply sergeant, you'll find yourself using ZMI21. That's how you can come in and reprint a physical inventory inside of the system as long as it's open or active. If your PBO deletes the inventories right after they generate them inside of GCSS Army, then ZMI21 will not serve a purpose for you. It's only for open or active inventories in the system. That's for the units that come in and enter in what was inventoried by whoever did the cyclic or the sensitive items for that month inside of MI04. So if your unit that is not entering in counts of what was inventoried outside of the system into the system, then ZMI21 will not serve a great purpose for you. Moving right along, MI04, that's where you will enter in what was seen by whoever did the sensitive items for that month, or who did the cyclic inventory for that month. So again, what's done outside of the system has to be recorded inside of the system by design. But if it's not, then just make sure you have a memorandum from record from your PBO explaining why you're not conducting inventories inside of the system. Moving right along, MI-20. MI-20 will show you a list of differences between what's on your books and what you entered in MI-04 based off of what was inventoried for that month or that time frame. MI-22, that can show you a physical inventory. If you don't know by now, inside of GCSS Army, your inventories are generated by sub-hand receipts or storage locations. So it's basically creating working copies for each section already in the system, so that alleviates the hard work of trying to figure out what section that equipment belongs to. You don't have to say, oh, this belongs to S1 or this belongs to S4. It's already going to be broken down by sub-hand receipts. So when you get your inventories from the PBO, all you have to do is give it to the person conducting the inventory, so that way they know exactly who has that equipment or who is supposed to have that equipment based off of the inventory. So now we can select component management. As you can see, there's a lot of different transaction codes under component management as well. So Charlie Sierra 11 or CS11, that is how you can access your TM inside of GCSS Army. So your TM or technical manual will be referred to as a BOM or bill of material. Right under that, we see the transaction code ZPrintCompHR, and that's how you can print one component hand receipt. It can be beneficial to use ZPrintCompHR because if you use this method, you can display or select what is displayed on that component hand receipt. For example, if you only want the component of end items and BII to be displayed, you can use ZPrintCompHR for that. Also, if you have a user-created TM that you use ZBOM add for, ZPrintCompHR is how you go in to print your operational support items or OSI items based off of what you created in ZBOM add. Right under that, you see the transaction code ZBOM change, ZBOMCHG. That transaction code can be used to identify any changes that occurred in that TM, whether they added something, took something off, whatever the case might be. Any changes to that TM you can see in ZBOM change. Right at the top, we see the transaction code IQ09. That transaction code can be used as a serial number search inside of GCSS Army. Similar to how you use the PBIS management inside of LIW as a serial number search, IQ09 shows you a list of serial numbers and equipment record numbers inside of GCSS Army. Right under that, you have multiple component hand receipts. Similar to ZPrintCompHR, except it's going to allow you to print multiple component hand receipts inside of the system. At the top, we see IWBK. IWBK allows you to see what shortages or shortage annex you have available or items you've received, so that way you can issue them in the system. So IWBK allows you to select your shortage annex and then issue those items once you've received them in the system. Right under that, we see IW38. IW38 will show you a list of your PB01 work orders or shortages inside of GCSS Army. So in GCSS Army, the term shortages that you're used to will be called work orders, or to be more specific, PB01 for property book work orders. So we're going to come over here and select supplies management. And under the supplies management button, there's 3 different transaction codes located here. We see display mat sit. Your supplies management is how you manage your expendable and durable items inside of GCSS Army, also known as how you manage your supply room. So what's physically in your supply room or supply cage is supposed to match your supply room inside of GCSS Army. So if you needed to see what was in your supply room inside of GCSS Army, display mat sit. If you type in your provisional or numerical storage location number, you can see what you have on hand. Right next to that, we see MIGO 201 as other. That's how you can issue from your on-hand quantity. So if you didn't want to take the time to see what reservation or order number was created for a person, you can use that to issue from your on-hand quantity. Or you can take your green book or sign-out book that you have in your supply room, and you can show that this person took 8 chem lights or whatever they took out of the supply room based off of the on-hand quantity. You're not looking for a specific order number or reservation in the system. A lot of personnel are using the goods issue other to issue equipment in the supply room that was never previously issued in the system before. Right next to that, we have MIGO 501. That's just the opposite of the 201. 201, you're issuing it out. MIGO 501, you're adding it. So if you are a unit that has a GPC card, because it's still bought with government funding, the way the system is designed, you're supposed to manually track those items that you bought with your GPC card, whether you went down to SSSC to get those items, wherever you got those items for, you're supposed to add them in. Also, MIGO 501 is how you can do a found on installation for expendable durable items. Let's just say you did a field exercise, someone left some engineered tape or some chem lights out there, you couldn't find the owner, so you took ownership of those items, and then you come back into your supply room and then add them in there that you found this engineered tape or chem lights or whatever you found. Supplies management is how you manage your expendable, durable supplies. So now we're going to select the reports. There's a lot of different reports, as you can see listed here. You have your asset visibility report, your unit equipment readiness listing, your daily activity report that can document what you've done for that day or that time frame inside of the system. Of course, you have your consolidated property listing. A transaction code that's probably new to you or you're not familiar with is ZMB59 or ZMB59. ZMB59 tracks movement or your MIGOs done inside of the system. So if someone issues equipment, receives equipment, you can see the date, time, and EDIP number, which is the number on the back of the CAT card of the person that did that. Your catalog is MM03, so whether you're used to using FedLog, WebFlix, LIW, PBIS catalog, MM03 is your catalog inside of GCSS Army. Equipment situation, a lot of supply personnel do not use that transaction code, but that transaction code can show you what items that you have in maintenance. Right under that, you have ZProstat. That's one that you're probably familiar with. That's similar to your activity register that you had in PBIS to show you your active and inactive orders. So ZProstat will give you the DoD document numbers associated with your open and close orders inside of GCSS Army. At the top again, display mat sit. That transaction code can be found on a lot of different buttons on your unit supply menu, but display mat sit can show you basically what you have on hand, whether you're talking non-expendable equipment or you're talking expendable durable equipment. ME5 Alpha. That transaction code can show you a list of your purchase requisitions or your requests inside of GCSS Army. MB25, that transaction code is used to show you a list of everything you've ordered in the system, whether we're talking your shortages that will be located in the first column or your day-to-day supplies from your operational basic load. Even if you deleted items in the system or canceled them, MB25 will show you that as well. So it's basically a historical document of everything you've ordered in the system. It'll also show you what you've issued in the system as well. So your reports are different reports available inside of GCSS Army to you. So now we can come to returns management provision. Not too many people use this particular transaction code because in GCSS Army, the term provisions is referred to as expendable and durable items. So not too many personnel return expendable durable items back to their supporting warehouse. But we'll go over these transaction codes. We see MIGO 501 there again. That's a goods receipt, how you manually receive something. So even if you find something and you need to return it, the way the system is designed, you're supposed to add it to your location and then turn it in. ME51 November, if you need to create a request to turn excess equipment in, you can use that. ME52 November, if you need to make a change or modification to that request, you have that transaction code available. YoBucks allows you to return an item to your supporting warehouse. And of course, you have ZOREP there that shows you an overage report of your repairable, recoverable items that have purchase requisitions associated with them. So the last transactions that we will go over will be found under reservations management. As you can see, you have the transaction code Mike Bravo 21. That is how you place an item on order from your operational or basic load items. MB21 is not for shortages. The transaction code IW31 is how you create a shortage or order a shortage inside of GCSS Army. Right under that, we see the transaction code Mike Bravo 22, MB22. That is how you can make a change to that reservation or order, whether you're increasing the quantity, decreasing the quantity, canceling it, postponing it, whatever the case might be. Any change you make to that is Mike Bravo 22. We see MB25 listed here. And again, MB25 shows you a list of everything you've ordered in the system. We see ME5 Alpha listed here again. ME5 Alpha again is a list of your purchase requisitions or your want slips inside of GCSS Army, what you've requested. Mike Delta 04. Mike Delta 04 tracks the status of MRP in real time or as close to real time as possible. So if you ordered something in the system, you're not sure where it is and you want to track where that item is, Mike Delta 04 will show you where that item is in the system, as well as showing you what you currently have on hand inside of your supply room. So when you place an item on order, you have docket series numbers associated with them at the bottom. So those docket series number that you get from when you create that request to when it becomes an inbound delivery or purchase requisition number, that can help you understand what the life cycle of your item from start to finish. ZProstat is listed again. That's your activity register. We see VL06I for your inbound deliveries. That will show you how to VL06I can show you a list of all your inbound deliveries, and that's also where you go to receive your items inside of the system. So just because you sign your MRO at the SSA, you still have to receive them in the system, so that way it leaves Plant 2001, the SSA's plant, and goes to your storage location in Plant 2000. Right under that, you have MIGO 201221. So MIGO 201221, that's how you're going to issue your supplies. So a 201 is issuing it to the call center. A 221 is issuing it to a WBS element or a special project. Basically, who's paying for that item? Is the unit paying for it or someone else is paying for it? So 201, the unit. 221, someone else. And then of course you have ZAIT for your AIT user maintenance. Again, this is your unit supply menu. It gives you an overview of what you can expect or what you can do from your unit supply menu. I hope you found this video tutorial to be helpful.